change the way you think about things for the next hour. I want my thoughts and my rants to broaden your horizon. And to get into happy hour, it's not hard. It's not rocket science. All you have to do is go to the Google Play or iOS shop and search up Hoppe Radio, Hoppe Radio. There, you can chat me live and you can listen anywhere on demand. Also, tweet at me at Ryan Hoppe Radio, and I will be sure to see them in real time. Email me, ryanhopperadio@gmail.com. All right, we have so much to get into, and I didn't want to spend too much time talking about this, but it's just something that kind of made me laugh a little bit. So recently, there's been a lot of TV shows and a lot of Facebook posts and tweets. No, not about Trump. About this new phenomenon that people think they want to be a part of, but they really don't. It's this whole idea of decorating a really small house. There's TV shows on TLC, and there's TV shows about, okay, you got to have a small house. You can decorate the hell out of it, but it's going to be small. Recently, I've been seeing news reporters in different markets, local news reporters talking about how small houses are cool now. Listen to me. The only person who is ever saying that having a small house is cool is a rich person who's bored with their life of having everything at their house, so they think it'd be cool to live in a small house. You can probably assume by how Hoppe TV looks if you're watching, and if you're not, I live in like a little bungalow. It looks like one of those sheds you have at Lowe's. I pay $500 a month for rent. It's a roof over my head. I'm in Tampa. I love it, but by no means do I go, man, I love my little house. You know what? Forget ever having a mansion in Land O'Lakes or Wesley Chapel or Madeira Beach or Tierra Verde, these nice neighborhoods in the Tampa Bay area if you're listening in a different city. No. Let's just live in a small house where everything is squishy and compact and there's no room. I mean, especially living with my girlfriend, it's such a cluster because it's like there's not a lot of room and you just feel very squished. Beth chimed in. I almost built a tiny house. It's good. I'm glad you didn't build it. You would have hated it. You get cabin fever because, like, you want to find plans to do. But if there's nothing to do, you go, ugh, I have to go home to my one-room house and just watch TV. Like, if you go to a friend's house and they have a nice living room and a nice kitchen, you feel at home. You put your feet up on the couch and you're like, this is relaxing. I like this. Nice big TV. I mean, I have a decent-sized TV, but I don't have a house big enough for a couch, so I have to lay on my bed or sit in this office chair I'm sitting on and I'm doing my show with to watch TV. I've never gone, you know what? I never want to upgrade. Okay, listen. Having like a one big room apartment is okay because you're able to like separate things. It's one big room, so you can have the bed over there. If it's a longer place and not shaped like a square, then you're okay. Because I lived in Cleveland when I worked on a Rover show, and my place was like a small apartment, but I would put the bed in like one corner, and then I'd put my TV in the other corner. It was more like a little house, and I had a bigger kitchen. But Beth chimes in, a listener. She goes, you don't need that much space. Maybe the average 5'9", 180-pound person doesn't. But when I'm 6'9" and my girlfriend's 6'1", so you have to mix, we both have clothes, we both have items. I would never, ever, ever tell anybody that's tall to live in a small house. Hunter chimes in. He goes, I have a 2-bedroom, 2-bath apartment in Sarasota. Sounds amazing. The only problem is I have no issue with Sarasota. Seems like a great area to live. It's just, I don't know if I would ever want to not live in St. Pete. As long as I work in radio here in Tampa Bay, I never want to live in Tampa. I never want to live in Land O'Lakes or Wesley Chapel unless I'm making good money where I have a nice place out there. I mean, last night I was driving across the bridge, see Howard Franklin. Man, I've been here since May 2015, And they're not kidding when there's like recent polls and recent research that says that Tampa's an up-and-coming city with a growing population. It really is. I mean, 2 years ago, people would complain about the traffic on the bridges, the Skyway, the Gandhi, the Veterans, the Howard Franklin. But I would go, you know what? It's not that bad. It's not like Chicago or Atlanta. It's bad. Nobody knows how to drive. But back for the last 2.5 years, I felt safe saying traffic wasn't that comparable to a major market. Tampa's getting very close to being a major market. They're growing downtown Tampa. Downtown St. Pete's a lot nicer. And oh my goodness, that traffic going across that bridge, it took me 70 minutes to get to Armenia Avenue from St. Pete near the Trop. I mean, without traffic, that's 25, 30 minutes. I mean, there's another 40 minutes. It's just, nobody knows how to drive here in Florida. It's just so absolutely infuriating. I think the most annoying part about traffic in Florida is that it doesn't feel safe. Like, say what you want about traffic in Atlanta or Chicago, the really, really, really big cities. But people let people merge. People don't honk at each other. People aren't demolishing their cars in 4-car crashes. In a 4-car car crash. It just seems like the bigger cities kind of know how to emulate the idea of driving. But I mean, oh my God. We have this long highway in Florida, in the Tampa Bay area, called US 19. And it's basically the original highway before we had the bridges. And it's how you get around if you live in St. Pete and you want to go shopping. And oh my God, I had to go shopping today. And if there was a way you could play like a board game in real life and you could like choose a card from the cards that are in the board game and the card option was to skip traffic on US 19, that would be the card I would want for life all the time. I mean, oh my goodness, nobody uses their turn signals. The red light turns green and you have to honk at everybody because they're on their phone. And the other issue is people aren't speeding in the left lane and they're going 55. Then the other issue is then if you're going to speed limit, which is around 70, people tailgate you because they want to go 85. Then they end up getting pulled over by the cops. And my favorite thing, absolutely, out of everything about how awful Florida drivers are, my favorite part is the fact that they don't pull over for ambulances or cops or fire trucks. That whole concept of an emergency car, an emergency truck, trying to get somewhere literally goes in one ear and out the other of the average Floridian. I mean, if you're driving in traffic in Chicago or Atlanta or Cleveland, any of the cities in the Midwest, the cities without like Florida in them, the Florida craziness, what you'll notice is people immediately move to the side of the road. Like everybody moves to the side of the road. In Florida, I can literally hear the ambulances honking when I'm inside of my apartment because they're honking so loud because nobody pulls over. And I don't know if that's just because there's this trend that my girlfriend told me that all her friends and her family went through. I don't know if it's that people just didn't go to driving classes and just kind of randomly passed their DMV test. But it just seems like nobody gets the concept of basic rules on the road. If you see the red and white lights going off on top of an emergency vehicle, something's probably happening. An ambulance is trying to get somewhere. Maybe somebody was shot, maybe somebody had a heart attack, maybe somebody broke their leg, maybe somebody fainted, maybe somebody had a seizure. They need to get somewhere. That's why they're speeding and honking like no other. And the fire trucks, they're either going to help assist the scene Or the other thing they're potentially doing is they're going to prevent a fire at a building from burning the place down. What I love is this. I love that drivers in Florida, they do pull over for the people when they're in cop cars. Whenever a cop car is driving and they have their lights on and they're speeding because they're trying to get somewhere, that's when people pull over because they go, oh, wait, what if they're trying to pull me over? Nobody does it for emergency cars like ambulances or fire trucks. But whenever it's a cop car, you better believe everybody pulls over because they're afraid it might be them they're coming after. Just saying. It's just a little trend I've noticed. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm being unfair on Florida. Maybe you're a Floridian and you're outraged and that rant just triggered you and you cannot believe I just said it. And you want to let me know what you think about it. It's not hard to get into contact with me. All you have to do is get the Hoppe Radio app in the Google Play and iOS shop by searching up Hoppe Radio. Hoppe Radio. Let's check in on the comments that I'm getting in real time on Hoppe TV. Brittany checks in. She says, hi. Hunter checks in. Great show, Ryan. I appreciate it. Beth is watching. Lauren out in Seattle says that he lives in a small cabin and he loves it. Well, a small cabin is nice. Living in a bungalow in the heat in Florida is a little bit different. All right. Here's the deal. We will be right back on Hoppe Hour, and we will get into so much more after this. Do not touch that computer mouse, that tablet, however the hell you're listening to my show.
Hoppe Hour. Hoppe Hour. What's up? This is Ryan Hoppe from the award-winning Hoppe Hour podcast here on Tampa Bay, and I'm here today to talk about my new friend of Hoppe Hour, Tampa Bay.
I see that my mom's watching.
Made the new Hoppe Hour t-shirts possible. And
hey,
here's
Melissa.
why you should check them out, because I'm a man of my words. They offer a
Come on,
broad
camera.
range of decorating techniques that are all performed in-house, right there. Direct garment, screen painting, and embroidery.
My girlfriend.
They are very exceptional, and they produce
nice hearing from you. Well spoken, very detailed,
so they
right to the point.
Making sure it comes to you as soon as possible.
Good hearing from you.
They operate at their own art setup and embroidery factory here in Tampa Bay, and they provide the highest quality screen printing in all
that is
Florida.
the
And guess
oh
what?
man,
They use the top-notch
that is the creepiest thing of all time. Because you were just on camera, it said, "Do you want to tag Melissa Montgomery in this video?"
Making me proud of. And maybe you're going, oh man, how can I get into contact with such a great company? Trust me.
Oh my God.
Rocket science. All you have to do is give them a call right now at 813-374-9544.
That is weird.
That's 813-374-9544. Or you can visit them right off of West Shore Boulevard in Tampa Bay. That's at 4817 South West Shore Boulevard. And go to their website, TampaBayBands.com. Trust me when I say that they are the best in the Bay.
Tweet Ryan Hoppe at Ryan Hoppe Radio. Snapchat him at Hoppe Radio. And email him anytime at ryanhopperadio@gmail.com. Now back to the show.
All right, welcome back to Hoppe Hour. I am your host, Ryan Hoppe. Tweet at me at Ryan Hoppe Radio and get the Hoppe Radio app in the Google Play and iOS shop by searching up Hoppe Radio, Hoppe Radio. All right, Diana checks in. Diana Kimball, a Hoppe Hour listener. Hi! Hey, Diana! Facebook is trying out this new method to prevent revenge porn. And it seems like Facebook is getting creepier and creepier by the day, and I will explain why. All right. For those of you that are watching Hoppe TV for Hoppe Hour today, my girlfriend came on the camera real quick and said hi and waved. And then she got off the camera. Facebook Live then goes, do you want to tag Melissa my girlfriend, that's her name, in the video. And I get that the concept is normal, that she was just on the video and they have the programming to tell that that face goes with a Facebook friend of mine. It's just like when you post a pic and it'll say, do you want to tag this person? I know they have the face recognition thing, but I find that to be incredibly creepy that a person was on my Facebook Live for 20 seconds and it said, do you want to tag it? It really proves that Facebook has a lot of power and we are in utter denial about it. Because I see this headline and it's a good idea what Facebook has come up with. It's a decent thought, but I just don't see it panning out. Facebook is going to test a new method to prevent revenge porn that requires uploading your nudes. I'll reread that. Maybe you think I'm reading an Onion article. No, this is from TechCrunch.com. Facebook is going to test a new method to prevent revenge porn that requires you to upload your nudes. All right. For people that are maybe middle-aged, that are listening or watching Happy Hour and Happy TV right now and don't know what revenge porn is, here's what it is. Whenever you send a sext, which is a sexy text of like you nude or you in lingerie, if you break up with that person, so like with the app Snapchat where you can send pics or just via a smartphone, couples at times will send nude pictures to each other. Smart idea or not, you get caught up in the idea, so you send it. What if their relationship doesn't go on forever? What if Mary sent a nude to Jimmy and then Mary that weekend cheated on Jimmy with his friend Kevin? Jimmy's going to be really mad at Kevin for banging out his girlfriend on his bed. So what does he do? He goes to Facebook and will post a pic of his girlfriend nude. And she doesn't approve of that. There used to be sites where you could post naked pictures of your exes. It's a thing that exists. Now listen. I get that Facebook is trying to be politically correct and trying to get rid of this. But listen. This is really, really weird. It says here, Facebook is going to test a new method to combat revenge porn in Sydney. Down under. They would try it down under. It is going to go where you upload your nude photos or videos to Messenger in order to help Facebook tag it as non-consensual explicit media. And I mean this in the nicest way. Not trying to insult the person that would do this, but anybody who would trust Facebook, anybody who would think it's a good idea to send nerdy computer programmers your hot nudes or your not so good looking nudes, you are not thinking that out. Those nudes are private. You kind of go under an oath anytime you sex somebody. You're basically going, I hope they don't show it to anybody, even though guys often show it to other people. I'm just saying, you often sign an oath where you go, this might or might not see the light of day. But that doesn't mean that you can trust Facebook to not show that to anybody. I know they legally couldn't post it. If you were to send Facebook a pic of your nudes. But that doesn't mean that the people that are receiving them aren't going to like touch themselves to it or be weird with it. I just don't get why you would trust anybody. It's not your significant other with nudes. I get that Facebook's trying to be creative. This is actually the first original idea they've ever come up with, because everything that Facebook has ever done, they have copied other people. They have that thing where they have their wannabe as Snapchat. Facebook Live is Periscope. Facebook was taken from MySpace. They bought out Graham. You can now check in, which is what Foursquare was. Facebook basically took every cool idea from social media and said, hey, because we're the most popular, we're going to take it, and you're going to be crap out of luck. Sorry, guys. Sorry you were innovative and you came up with your own ideas. We're going to F you over. I'm just saying. All right. Speaking of social media. So, 2 months ago, I went up north for Hurricane Irma to Chicago. And there's this mall up there. It's huge, and it does very well in business. Because all the rich people in the suburbs of Schaumburg, Arlington Heights, Buffalo Grove, Palatine, Wilmette, Rosemont, Bartlett, all the nice suburbs in Chicago, a richer city, they all go to Woodfield Mall in Schaumburg. It's this ginormous mall. Has everything. And I remember me and my girlfriend were up there and we were getting coffee. And I saw this booth where you could buy Snapchat spectacles. These Snapchat sunglasses. And I looked at it. And I immediately said to myself in my head, this is not going to pan out. This will not work. And the immediate issue with it, and I will explain why I'm talking about it, but I'll show it to you on Hoppe TV. They just are not cool looking at all. And they were very overpriced. These spectacles, these glasses you could get that work with Snapchat. Great idea, but you should have been selling them at 7-Eleven. And at grocery places like Winn-Dixie or Publix or Mark's if you're listening up in Cleveland, or Jewel Osco if you're listening in Chicago. Any place you get food, they should have had these spectacles in the front line. Here's the issue. Snapchat launched it in September of 2016, and Snapchat lost $40 million on these spectacles. The company behind Snapchat has taken a $40 million hit in its finances after its video recording sunglasses failed to sell as well as hoped. Snapchat launched spectacles, which that was the name of their device. Why even try to be creative? One word, spectacles. It's kind of like when you name a show one name, like Power or Ballers. Why even try to be creative anymore? It's that same thing. You had to have a cool name. They were selling them through pop-up vending machines. You would press a button on the glasses and it would record a short video that could be shared on the Snapchat messaging app. But on Tuesday, the company revealed that they lost $40 million due to excess inventory and canceled orders. I love Snapchat. It's the best way to send pics when you are a millennial, but they did this so wrong. They said that 150,000 units have been sold. Wow, is that awful? For Generation X, or baby boomers, or late millennials in their 30s that don't know how big Snapchat is, it's huge. A lot of times, you don't even text your friend. You can just snap them a pic of yourself or what you're doing, and then you end up talking back and forth with them, and you make plans. What I'm saying is Snapchat is so prevalent. Graham took the idea of Snapchat, and so did Facebook, and everybody thought Snapchat would die. It wouldn't. Snapchat's popular amongst kids my age. So the fact that they only sold 150,000 units in, what is it, 14 months since September 2016, that is atrocious. That might be one of the worst marketing busts of all time. Guess how much the glasses were? $129. What? Either Snapchat was greedy and thought that people would buy them, or they didn't think that the people that use Snapchat are already paying for phone bills, Netflix, maybe cable, maybe Spotify, maybe your car payment, maybe school, because we're young millennials. We don't go out to eat. Nobody is going to go out, even though we love Snapchat, us millennials, we use it. Nobody is going to spend $129 on expensive glasses that you can take a Snapchat with. They weren't even cool looking. Man, whoever came up with this, and I'm not saying this in a mean way, I don't think they were a millennial. I don't think they did enough market research with millennials. I think they just kind of thought that we would like it. Who would spend $129 on spectacles, an awful name for Snapchat glasses? Netflix is about $10 a month around. You can get 11 months of Netflix, 12 months if it's 130. That's like a year of Netflix, a year of Sirius XM radio, a year of Spotify. That's like 1/5 of my rent, $129. I mean, who was going to go, you know what? Why get the latest car and I can have car payments per month? Why get a nice flat screen TV when I can pay $129 to take snaps via sunglasses that look dorky? And I know Snapchat is angry that Graham and Facebook Live took their attention. I get it. But you gotta think about it. That is just absolutely moronic. Alright, let me know. Maybe you bought the Snapchat spectacles. And maybe they weren't so bad after all. Tweet at me at Ryan Hoppe Radio. Get the Hoppe Radio app in the Google Play and iOS shop. I search up Hoppe Radio. Hoppe Radio. Alright. Speaking of social media, this is from TMZ. Mike Huckabee, Republican, he's run for president before. He has a right-sided talk show on the radio. He thinks Twitter's new 280 character limit is good for Trump and America. Of course he thinks that the 280 character limit is good for Trump. Because now Trump doesn't have to send out 4 tweets in a row of what he wants to say. All Trump has to do is literally yell in these tweets, send 1 tweet out, and you're good. I think the 280 character new rule on Twitter is absolutely atrocious. The whole idea of Twitter that made it so much nicer than Facebook was that you were limited in how many characters you could use, so it made you be more creative. You had to get to the point. Even if you used bad grammar, you had to get to the point. When you times it by 2, it's crazy how much room 280 characters is. And it's crazy how much people are just literally spewing garbage on social media over it. It's insane. I swear to God, I'm a social media addict. I like seeing when people interact with my show. But social media at the same time literally is driving this country into the ground. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I'm a political analyst like Keith Olbermann for the left or Ben Shapiro for the right. 2 guys I'm a fan of. I'm not going to sit here and say that I can break things down and that I'd be a good president or that I have ideas on how to fix things. Here's what I'll say about Trump. The fact that he's getting insulted by Kim Jong-un over in China, over him saying mean things to him, means that we are screwed. Not playing the Alex Jones fake character shock jock card, where I'm saying that we're going to go into World War III or something awful is going to happen, but The fact that our president is yelling at the news and yelling at SNL and Alec Baldwin and now getting mad over what another leader of the world said. We are so doomed. That's all I'm going to say about that. I also... Listen, a lot of talk shows recently will go on and on about these sexual assault allegations of Kevin Spacey, Harvey, who I'm not going to even say his last name because I don't want to give him the time of day, Hoffman, Louis C.K., George Takei. And before I even get into this article about Louis C.K., I want to call George Takei out real quick. Here's the issue. He literally has made a career for himself the last 20 years, essentially, on Howard's talk show. George has made a career for himself the last decade, especially on Howard's talk show on Sirius XM by talking about gay sex. For the whole October, they did this thing called C-tober, the word to describe a penis, the C word. They did C-tober, where every day Howard was talking about gay sex and penises and dicks. And it was just not for me. I love Howard. I think he's the greatest show of all time. But for a whole month, I didn't really listen. When I'm waking up at 9 in the morning, 8 in the morning, and I want to listen to Howard, I want to hear him talk about the news, interview famous people, and make fun of High Pitch Eric. I don't need to hear Richard and Sal and George talk about dick. It's just not my type of radio. So for the last decade, George Takei has taken part in these bits. For the last decade, he has had so many times he's been on the radio, on Howard's show, and talked about how... There's literally a clip. I will tweet it out at Ryan Hoppe Radio. I'm just not playing it here because it's not my audio. It's property of Sirius XM. So I didn't want to get in trouble. But I'll tweet it out. There's a clip of George this year on Howard's show talking about how he would grab guys' lower region without them approving of it, but it was just jokes. And you could tell Howard is getting uncomfortable. But that's just George being the crazy old man, right? No. George Takei literally is being a hypocrite. He is going on social media saying that he didn't do it. And now he's saying that every time he's gone on Howard's show, he says he's being distasteful. Were you being distasteful when Jason Ellis, another talk show host, sat in on your birthday when you just turned 80 and they had a birthday for you on Howard's show and he was grabbing your junk? And you grabbed his junk? Were you being distasteful when you talk about all the gay sex you have? Were you? No. You're being you. And you got caught. Shut up. Here's what he said. This is from the Hollywood Reporter. Oh my. Out of context, I agree that the jokes I've said are distasteful. And I'm sorry that I made a serious matter out of this. He issued an apology, George did, for his comments about grabbing men, saying he was joking when he said it last month. No, he wasn't. If you listen to the audio, you can tell that George is caught and Howard sounds uncomfortable. Out of context. For decades, I have played the part of a naughty gay grandpa. A caricature I now regret. No, you don't regret it at all. Shut up, George. You are a part of, well, maybe not anymore, the greatest talk show of all time. You got to be the announcer for Howard. You got to have fans of people that never saw your TV show in the 60s. People know you as the character, George. Don't say you regret it. You love the attention. You didn't regret it when you said it last month. If you regretted it, everything you've done, you would have quit going on and said sorry then. The only reason George is saying he's sorry is because he's caught and people are outraged. Oh my God. What a hypocritical douchebag. Especially after the fact, and I'm not a Trump fan, but he's going after Trump in those allegations. And he goes after Trump all the time. And he's so liberal on Twitter. And he just spews all this outrage about Trump. And then there's outrage towards him. And he's not even a man about it. He's a pussy. I'm just saying. You did a caricature. No, you're being yourself, and you're just embarrassed that people are mad about it. On Howard's show last month, they were talking about the irony of the Harvey case and the audio tape of President Donald Trump talking with Billy Bush about grabbing women's genitals. Howard then asked George if he's ever grabbed a man's genitals against his will. George immediately went quiet, then said, "Uh-oh," and laughed. Howard asked again, and George said, "Some people are kind of skittish, or maybe afraid, and you're trying to persuade." Sounds kind of like the incident in 1981. The ones you're being accused of. Co-host Robin Quivers followed up by asking George whether he has ever held a job over somebody for sex. George said no. Robin Quivers then asked if he did this grabbing at work, to which George replied, "It was in my home. They came to my house." George has said he's never had any relations without consent. How are we supposed to believe you if for the last decade, George, you've played this character on Howard's show as the gay old grandpa, and you never ever said that it was a character. Say what you want about shock jocks like Mancow, but Mancow will openly say, of the Mancow show in Chicago, that there is a difference between Eric Mueller, the father and husband on the side, and then Mancow, the loud shock jock on air. He's often said on air that he's different off air. And I met Mancow one time. He's very quiet and very reserved. On air, he's hyper and crazy. George has never, ever come out and said, "Oh, what I say on Howard's show is so different than me in real life." That's why we know that you're a hypocrite, a phony, a liar, and a douchebag is now the only reason you're saying sorry is because you're caught. Shut the hell up, George. Oh my. Also, speaking of these allegations going on, FX has now given Louis C.K. the boot too, canceling the deal with his production company, Pig Nugent. It says here, he will no longer receive any compensation of the 4 shows he has created and helped work. Rather, not created, worked. Better Things, which is a good show. Baskets, which is a good show. The Cops, I haven't seen. And One Mississippi. Louis C.K.'s publicist and managers have also severed ties with the comedian. Here's my thing about Louis. Louis is a gross, gross human being. Louis is a creep. Louis is a weird guy. Any dude who would literally go up and jerk off in front of women is a weird, weird guy. There is nothing attractive about that body motion. I'm not going to be gross. I'm not going to get into it because I always want to get this show to be radio ready, so I'm not going to talk about what the action looks like. But there's literally nothing appealing about watching a guy have sexy time with himself. This is nothing more than power. Louis C.K., Harvey, any of these weird famous guys that want you to watch them jay off and they have you come up to their hotel room, that's nothing more than a power trip. Because these guys can get many girls. Maybe not any girl they want, because the ones they can't get are the ones that they're raping or attacking. But what I'm saying is you can literally get any girl you want. So it's not really about that. It's more about power. And all these production companies and Jon Stewart and everybody who's coming out and saying, "Oh, we are outraged by it. We can't believe it." Oh, really? Really, Jon Stewart? You couldn't believe that Louis C.K. is a weirdo? The guy who, on his sitcom, played the character of the dude that has weird, boring sex and is awkward around women, and rumors have circulated in Hollywood. That must mean that Jon Stewart is simple-minded and just ignorant if he didn't know. Just looking at Louis C.K., you can tell he's a weird guy. His mannerisms, he never smiles. Brilliant comic. Big fan of Louis' work. I love his TV show. I'm a fan of his work. I think he's a weirdo. I think he's a creep. I'm not going to sit here and defend any of it. I think if you defend what Louis did, then you're honestly having issues against women, if you can even defend it. But I'm not going to sit here and say that Louis is not talented. He's definitely one of my favorite comedians. I grew up listening to Louis on Opie and Anthony. He was great on Opie and Anthony. I heard about all of those comedians. Him, Jim Florentine, Colin Quinn, Jim Norton, Jim Jeffries, Robert Kelly, Bert Kreischer, Ralphie May, any comedian you heard about. You listen to Ron and Fez, you listen to Howard, or you listen to Opie and Anthony. So I'm a big fan of Louis' work. But he's a weirdo. And all these production companies separating themselves from him, that's just them covering their effing ass. Because they didn't really care before when he was making them millions and he had comedy specials. And Louis C.K. basically changed the way we watch TV shows. If it wasn't for Louis C.K., there wouldn't be all the shows you watch. It was like the newer version of Curb Your Enthusiasm. It's cringeworthy. It's awkward. It's deep. You don't need a laugh track to laugh at the scenes. I'm telling you. Now that Louis C.K. is being crucified, everyone's acting like he has no talent. He's one of the best comedians out there. There's no doubt about it. Just like all the issues that Mike Tyson went through. Didn't mean he wasn't one of the best boxers out there now. Oh, and I love the fact that Mike Tyson is now loved. Especially since when he was in The Hangover. He has an Adult Swim cartoon now. Here's what I'll say. There's not going to be a middle median where we either kind of forgive Louis C.K. or not. It'll go two ways. Either he will be shunned from Hollywood, or over time we will get over it. Just saying. Tweet at me at Ryan Hoppe Radio. I just find it so phony that everybody in Hollywood's like, oh, we are shocked. No, you didn't care at all. I also saw this in the news. Thought this was great. Now listen. It says here that Tom Brady, if you want to get some of his merchandise, it will cost you a lot of money. Listen. I get if you go to a comic convention and you see an actor that doesn't have a lot of money, that was on a show in the 70s that has spent all his money. I totally get when you have to pay $50 to meet them. It just makes sense. But listen. Tom Brady is set for life. He's the greatest quarterback of all time. He's got a gorgeous wife. He gets to visit the beach during his bye week when he's not playing football. And it says here that TMZ Sports reported that Tom Brady was having a private signing session back in March where fans could pick an item for him to sign, including a football for $1,000, an autographed photo, $850, a Pats mini helmet, $1,000, essentially $949. Tom Brady's game day jersey, $1,300. This is why I just can't get down with the NFL as much as the NBA or baseball. I love the NFL, and it's prime. But what is so infuriating, God bless you, Melissa, sneezing in the background. No worries. She looks all embarrassed. It's fine. My issue with that, with Tom Brady making you pay a lot for his autograph, is the fact that the average Joe like me is just barely getting by with my paychecks. The average Joe that's watching the NFL is a hardworking guy who sits in their rocking chair or sits on their comfy couch at their flat screen TV that they had to save up money for. And they just like watching a quarterback, and they live through him. He has a hot wife. He lives the life. He plays football. Any dude who grew up watching football dreamed about being a quarterback. None of these average Joes can afford your merchandise. You're not starving for money, Tom Brady. There is no reason any of your merchandise should be $1,000. It's phony. All right, I am running out of breath, so I'm going to take a quick break. But to get into contact with me, it's not hard. It's not rocket science. All you have to do is tweet at me at Ryan Hoppe Radio, or get the Hoppe Radio app in the Google Play and iOS shop by searching up Hoppe Radio, Hoppe Radio. There you can chat me live, and you can listen anytime, anywhere in the world. We will be right back on Happy Hour after this. Do not touch that computer mouse, that tablet, however the hell you are listening to my show. Hang on.
Happy Hour.
What's up? This is Ryan Hoppe from the award-winning Happy Hour podcast here in Tampa Bay. And I'm
Who the hell is watching this?
about my new friend of Happy Hour, Tampa Bay.
Dan
fans
Lilly,
who have made
my
this
mom,
Happy Hour
quite the
t-shirt
fan base.
possible.
Thanks, guys.
And here's why you should check. I'm a man of my words. They offer a broad range of decorating techniques that are all performed in-house right there. Direct garment, screen painting, and embroidery. They are very exceptional, and they produce each order on an individual basis, so they care about making sure it comes to you as soon as possible. They operate at their own art setup and embroidery factory here in Tampa Bay, and they provide the highest garment prints are reached at a standard that they can be proud of. And maybe you're going, oh man, how can I get into contact with such a great company? Trust me, it's not hard. It's not rocket science. All you have to do is give them a call right now at 813-374-9544. That's
I'm going to save that for next week. That's news that'll never get old.
813-374-9544. Or you can visit them right off of West Shore Boulevard in Tampa Bay. That's at 4817 South West Shore Boulevard. And go to their website, TampaBayBands.com. Trust me when I say that they are the best in the Bay.
Yeah! Got a little Snoop Dogg for you, Melissa.
Syndicated on IRN and heard around the world on the Hoppe Radio app. You are tuned in to Happy Hour.
Welcome back to Happy Hour. I am your host, Ryan Hoppe. Tweet at me at Ryan Hoppe Radio and get the Hoppe Radio app in the Google Play and iOS shop by searching up Hoppe Radio, Hoppe Radio. All right. We have so much to get into before we get out of here. Let me do some NBA news for you guys. All right, I saw this headline here, and I'm a Chicago Bulls fan. I'm from Chicago, so this really, really pissed me off. The Chicago Bulls are siding with Bobby Portis over Nikola Mirotic. So, for people that don't know, about 3 weeks ago, Nikola Mirotic and Bobby Portis, two players at practice, got into a fight, and Bobby Portis punched Nikola so hard that now he's out. And he will be back sooner than later. But here's the issue. It says here, Nikola Mirotic told the Bulls to choose between him and Bobby Portis. Which I thought it was a disgrace that the Bulls didn't get rid of Bobby Portis then. It shows that Fred Hoiberg's a pussy. It shows that Gar Forman and John Paxson are afraid because they know their team's bad. Like, if your team is that bad, get rid of Bobby Portis. There's no reason to have an idiot who gets so mad in a moment that he knocks out one of his teammates. You're on a team, and it's a mate. You're an idiot. Here's what it says here. It's from Joe Cowley of the Chicago Sun-Times. According to at least two Bulls players, the ultimatum is issued by Nikola Mirotic and his camp that either he or Bobby Portis has to go. If anything, it says here that that is not even happening whatsoever. That nobody is siding with Nikola Mirotic issue, that it's one person or the other. It says this is Nico's problem now. How can you possibly side with your teammate who knocked out another teammate? I don't know if Nikola is kind of a hard guy to work with. I don't know if he's potentially just kind of a douchebag. Something's team to potentially side from you. But how could you side with the guy that knocked out your best player essentially on your team? It is so sad how bad the Chicago Bulls franchise is. Jerry, the owner of the Bulls, should be ashamed of the fact that he has kept John Paxson around and Gar Forman. They have literally sent this franchise into the ground. It's insane. I know Derrick Rose didn't pan out. I know his knees don't work. I get it. How do you not make it work with Jimmy Butler? How do you not make it work with Tom Thibodeau? Teams all have egos. Nothing's ever going to be perfect. But it seemed like Tom Thibodeau always got the best out of his players. Fred Hoiberg is so atrocious, I would rather have a cartoon caricature. Just a little pic of Zoidberg from Futurama, the squid. I would rather have him just sit there. Just print out a pic of him, a cartoon. Just go to Google Images, look up a pic of Zoidberg, and just print it out and have it sit in Fred Hoiberg's chair. It'd be more effective than this idiot. Just saying. All right. Also in the news, Lonzo Ball has achieved his first triple-double after a loss, but he says it doesn't really mean anything. And I kind of feel bad for Lonzo Ball. His idiot, entitled moron of a brother at spoiled brat LiAngelo is shoplifting sunglasses at a Louis Vuitton shop in China when you're overseas and representing this country. What I thought was funny was all the idiots on Twitter were like, he's shoplifting a purse. No, he's not. He's shoplifting other things. But I think everybody is being so hard on Lonzo Ball. He's 20 years old, 21 years old, around there. Imagine being 21 years old and playing in a professional league in the second biggest market in this country. If you're playing in Los Angeles on the Lakers. Insane franchise with many championships, about 16. The most known basketball team besides the Bulls or the Knicks. Imagine the pressure you are under. Give this kid a break. I mean, I know that it's easy to rip into Lonzo Ball because LeVar has put all this pressure on him. But Lonzo didn't choose him as a dad. I mean, I know he goes along with his dad's antics. I'm just saying maybe be a little bit easier on him. I get that they put it on themselves, but this is his rookie year. Literally, if Lonzo Ball didn't have LeVar and LiAngelo, his family, and he didn't have a show on Facebook, Ball in the Family, and he didn't have the big baller brand, he would be like any other player. He'd be like anybody else that's on the Lakers. I'm just saying. It's his rookie year. And quit comparing him to Jason Kidd. Jason Kidd's a once-in-a-lifetime player. Let's let Lonzo Ball be Lonzo Ball. The most overrated thing in sports journalism. The most hacky, unoriginal thing that anybody on any national sports network or any blog does is when you compare an athlete now to a different athlete. They'll never be like that. I'm sorry. Let's let LeBron James be LeBron James. Let's let Kobe Bryant's legacy be what it is. Quit comparing it to Michael Jordan. Just saying. All right. I'm about to get out of here. Tweet at me at Ryan Hoppe Radio, RyanHoppeRadio.com, at Ryan Hoppe Radio on Twitter, Graham, like the page on Facebook, Hoppe Hour, Snapchat me, Hoppe Radio. Go to tinyurl.com/Hoppe Hour decal for just $2. You can support small business in Minnesota, Solis Graphics, and get Hoppe Hour decals. Go to tinyurl.com/Hoppe Hour t-shirts. It's tinyurl.com/Hoppe Hour t-shirt, rather. For just $15, you can help Tampa Bay bands, a small business here in Tampa Bay, and you can help them by what you can do is help give proceeds to the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society and get a Hoppe Hour t-shirt. Most important plug, get the Hoppe Radio app in the Google Play and iOS shop. It's just like any other app. You can listen to my show at any time. You can chat me live while I'm doing the show and much, much more. All right, this has been Hoppe Hour. I am your host, Ryan Hoppe, signing off.